Proverbs 4. Hear, O sons, a father's instruction, and be attentive that you may gain insight. For I give you good precepts. Do not forsake my teaching. When I was a son with my father, tender, the only one in the sight of my mother, he taught me and said to me, Let your heart hold fast my words. Keep my commandments and live. Get wisdom, get insight. Do not forget, and do not turn away from the words of my mouth. Do not forsake her, and she will keep you. Love her, and she will guard you. The beginning of wisdom is this: get wisdom, and whatever you get insight. Prize her highly, and she will exalt you. She will honor you if you embrace her. She will place on your head a graceful garland. She will bestow on you a beautiful crown. Hear, my son, and accept my words, that the years of your life may be many. I have taught you the way of wisdom. I have led you in the paths of uprightness. When you walk, your step will not be hampered, and if you run, you will not stumble. Keep hold of instruction. Do not let go. Guard her, for she is your life. Do not enter the path of the wicked. Do not walk in the way of the evil. Avoid it. Do not go on it. Turn away from it and pass on. For they cannot sleep unless they have done wrong. They are robbed of sleep unless they have made someone stumble. For they eat the bread of wickedness and drink the wine of violence. But the path of the righteous is like the light of dawn, which shines brighter and brighter until full day. The way of the wicked is like deep darkness. They do not know over what they stumble. My son, be attentive to my words. Incline your ear to my sayings. Let them not escape from your sight. Keep them within your heart. For they are life to those who find them, and healing to all their flesh. Keep your heart with all vigilance, for from it flow the springs of life. Put away from you crooked speech, and put devious talk far from you. Let your eyes look directly forward, and your gaze straight before you. Ponder the path of your feet, then all your ways will be sure. Do not swerve to the right or to the left, and turn your foot away from evil.
Arriving at Proverbs 4, we now see the father addressing multiple sons. And he says to them in verse 3, When I was a son to my father. Then verse 4, When he instructed me and said to me, Let your heart hold fast to my words. So in the perspective of this human father, he understands that the source of wisdom did not originate in him. Everything that this father's teaching was actually taught to him. So the scope of wisdom in God's word applies not only to multiple sons, but multiple generations. And the message is familiar. Verse 5, do not forget wisdom. Verse 6, love wisdom. Verse 8, prize wisdom. It's highlighting the infinite worth of God's perfect word. And then in verse 10, it gets personal again. Hear, my son, and receive my sayings. So each son has to personally accept these precious words of wisdom that were passed down through many godly generations. And the reception of God's word is not just an intellectual assent. Verse 12, when you walk, your steps will not be impeded, and if you run, you will not stumble. It translates to how we walk, how we live. And if we are to receive or accept God's word, then by implication, there will be things that we must reject. Verse 14, do not enter the path of wicked men, and do not step into the way of evil men. Verse 15, avoid it, stray from it, Active acceptance of God's words means active rejection of anything contrary to it. And this is not an instant event. Verse 18, the path of the righteous is like the light of dawn that shines brighter and brighter until the fullness of day. Those who accept God's wisdom will grow in His light day by day. And not only do we accept or receive God's wisdom, but His Father says again to His Son in verse 20, "My son, pay attention to my words." God's words demands our focus. Verse 21, "Do not let them deviate from your eyes. Keep them in the midst of your heart." Verse 23, "Guard your heart with all diligence." Verse 25, "Let your eyes look directly ahead, and even let your eyelids be fixed straight in front of you." There will be competition for your attention, but will you fix your mind on the truths of God's Word day to day as you walk? Because only then, verse 26, you can watch the track of your feet, and all your ways will be established.